Hi, welcome to Bobbins and Bows of Bear YouTube tutorial for sewing up with mattress stitch. So mattress stitch is used to sew up all your garments, your knitted garments. It really is a really nice way to give you a professional finish. It's nice and strong and should be virtually invisible. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the work for you to see. Oh wait, there we go. So I've got two pieces here of Aran wool. And we're going to sew up these two edges. So normally I would use my tail end to sew up, but I'm using a nice pink yarn so you can see what I'm doing. So we sew up one stitch in, so one full stitch. So there is the first full stitch, and we're going to sew in the middle of there. So you go to the bottom of there and you come up from underneath to the front, so back to front like that, and bring you all through. Just leave that dangling for the moment, and then go to the other side, and the first full stitch is there. It's at the bottom there. Bring your needle up through the middle of the bottom. Yep, just checking that's right. And then you go back to the first side and you go up again from back to front through the same stitch. And that gives you kind of a figure 8 so that you can anchor your work. So give that a pull and that should stay put. And as you go, this will disappear. So then you go back to the other side. Sorry, that's gone wrong. Let's move you in the middle. That's it. So we're going to work both sides from the front. So where you went out of the first stitch, you go back in there, and you're working in the middle of that row there. So there's these little bars in there, in the middle of that stitch, and that's what you're knitting, sewing behind. So it's 1, 2, bring you all through. And don't pull it tight, just so that you can see it like that. And you go to the other side and you go back in where you came out of. You do the same thing, 2 bars up the middle of that row, in the middle of the stitch. If you pull it apart, you'll see those bars there. Just pull it up like that. And you go back to the other side, and it's 1, 2 bars like that. And you keep going, both sides. Always from the front, so back in where you came out of, and then 2 bars like that. And again, 1, 2, that's it. And back the other side. So you do that for sort of an inch or so, like that. And then you pull, which you can see properly, sorry. You hold the bottom if you want to. Just pull. There. So you can see it's pulled the stitches together. You can't see them anymore. And then you keep going. So you go back into the same place. Sorry, there we are, back in there. Once you've pulled them tight, it's always just a little difficult to see where you were before. You just pull your work apart a little bit and you can see. But you have to pull it together every few stitches, otherwise it doesn't pull together very well. If you do it this way, it pulls together lovely. You just keep going. And this is the basics of mattress stitch. Obviously you have to put this into practice on your garments, and there's different patterns. You've got your rib pattern work, sort of Aran jumpers for example. You've got moss stitch and cables and things like that to contend with. So I've done a few videos on how to do it with a patterned jumper, and how to do it on stocking stitch jumpers with rib pattern. So keep your eye out for them. There we are. Let's give it a little stretch, just check it's got enough stretch. And you just keep going. I just think it's so nice when you pull it together and you see that work come together, and it looks like a full, it looks like it was never joined together. I used to do my workshops, finishing techniques, and this is the one I loved to teach because everybody was so wowed by it, and it was so nice to know that they could now sew up the garments with pleasure, because most people don't like to sew up the garments, mainly because they didn't know how to do it properly and were never quite happy with the finish, even though they're beautiful knitters. There we are. There you are. So you can see, if you pull it apart, you can just about see. And if you do it wrong, and say they're out of line, and you think, oh, I've not done it quite right, it's very easy to take back. You just give it a little pull, and it just comes out like this. When I first started to knit, I used to do an overstitch, and I could never find my stitches if I needed to take it back. And it just comes out really easy. And pull it back again. There we are. So I would recommend you have a little try on a sample piece like this to get a little bit more confidence about where you're putting your needle, how you're sewing it up before you start on your garment if you've never done it before. And look out for the other videos on how to do the rib and patterned garments and things like that. I hope that was helpful, and give it a try because I'm sure you'll love it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.